It's on? Can you hear me? All right. Good evening, everyone. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. This is the 3-year anniversary of the victims of the Pulse tragic shooting in Orlando. And considering this is Pride Month, we wanted to just acknowledge that awful tragedy and also pray for all of those who fight for our rights every day. Thank you. Stand for the pledge. And how about we have our leaving board members, Ms. Malin and Dr. Griffin, lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A brief moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello. Okay. That's what teachers do in the classroom, right? Make sure everyone's paying attention. So this is the final scheduled board meeting of the 2018-19 school year, and we have a number of tenure awards to vote on tonight, and also acknowledgement of retirement. Before we get started, if everyone would please just take note of the emergency exits immediately to the rear and to the front of the room. In the event of an emergency, please exit those doors and proceed to the parking lot in a calm fashion. Also, a reminder, this is a smoke-free school district. There is no smoking permitted anywhere in the building or on the school grounds. And now we'll get into just a brief, as Dr. Gianni explained inside, a brief portion of the agenda that has to be approved, and then we will get into our presentations. So first we have board consent agenda item 1 through 6, but we just have to check the minutes for a moment. Hold on 1 second. And nope, we're all set for that one. Okay. All right, so the consent agenda item can be taken in its entirety. C1 through 6, we need a motion and a second to approve. Is there a motion? Motion by Ms. Malin, seconded by Mr. Trent. Any discussion? Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hands. Thank you very much. Put your hands down. Seeing all hands raised. Motion passes unanimously, C1 through 6. Next, we have item D, communications, and we will begin with the superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you. We are going to begin communications and announcements with recognizing our 15 retirees, and we are going to begin with the high school, and Mr. Hogan I'd like to introduce.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. We have 3 retirees at the high school, and as in any year we have faculty members retiring from the high school. We're very happy for them, but we're sorry to lose them in our school environment and for the students. I am going to start with one of our retirees who's unable to join us tonight, and that is Sheila Smith from the business department. Sheila Smith has been teaching for a total of 33 years, 32 years of which have been in South Country at Bellport High School. During her tenure, she served as department chairperson, creating the business advisory board, as well as introducing new and innovative classes such as virtual enterprise, college accredited business courses, and introduction to culinary arts. Without question, her lasting legacy will be our virtual enterprise program, one that has been emulated by multiple school districts throughout Suffolk County. Being an entrepreneur herself, she was able to share her real-world business experiences with her students, including numerous regional and national competitions. Sheila has 5 children, 2 grandchildren. She looks forward to spending time with her family, traveling, gardening, and other hobbies during her retirement. We wish Sheila Smith all the best. And now I'd like to invite Jane Johnson Seeberger up to the podium, please. Jane Johnson Seeberger has been the librarian at Bellport High School for the past 20 years. Her dedication to our library has gone from ensuring we have books covering every subject area, the use of current and relevant technology, and ensuring all teachers as well as students can use the library for their educational advancement. Over the years, Ms. Johnson Seeberger has seen technology progress from film strip slides, tape recorders, overhead projectors, VHS video systems, to current-day computers, 3D printers, a makerspace room, and the new Nareva span wall technology. She has worked tirelessly to keep our inventory of books updated and current. Jane applied the same energy and skill into the library computers, printers, and copiers, updated and working. In addition, Jane has been instrumental in revitalizing our school atrium and reintroducing the Atrium Club to Bellport High School. We thank Jane for everything she has done for students, faculty, staff. She will be missed. Thank you.
So what we're going to do is do the entire building, and then we'll take a look at it.
Okay, and last but not least, my friend, Mr. Raisky. If I could ask Eric Raisky to come to the podium. 31 years ago, Eric Raisky left Michigan to come to Bellport High School and begin his tenure as a music teacher. When he arrived here, he became the symphonic band conductor as well as our percussion specialist. Since then, he has also taken on the role of wind ensemble conductor. Mr. Raisky's interest in mental health and in helping others has prompted him to become a licensed clinical mental health counselor. Mr. Raisky's retirement plans including building his private counseling practice, as well as tending to the Raisky Farm in Michigan, the farm he grew up on and which has been in his family for over 100 years. His kind, caring nature is something that students will miss. On a personal note, Mr. Raisky and I worked together in the band room for 25 years. We did a lot of great work together, always a part of my career I'll treasure. The Music Farm is going to miss Mr. Raisky.
Okay.
Your fingerprints all over that.
Yeah, no. You know what?
Perfect photo bomb opportunity for me right now. So you know.
We get to do the fun shot.
You should jump up, it would be funny.
And now I'd like to introduce Mrs. Brzezinski or Frankie Wall.
Good evening. I would like to begin with Mrs. Fryband, who is not able to be here this evening. Mrs. Fryban has worked in the South Country Central School District for the past 17 years as an ENL teacher at Vern Kritz and Frank P. Long Intermediate School. During that time, she was a member of multiple committees and always assisted with the scheduling process. Mrs. Fryban is most proud of the dedication to her students and their successes. We would like to wish her all the best in her retirement. I would like to invite Sandy Winslow to the podium, please. Mrs. Winslow has worked in the South Country School District for the past 33 years as a classroom teacher. She taught 6 years at Brookhaven Elementary School, 16 years at Vern Kritz, 1 year at Kramer Street, and the last 10 years at Frank P. Long Intermediate School. Some of Mrs. Winslow's accomplishments include being a proud mother of 3 amazing children, bringing Literacy Collaborative to Vern Kritz, creating special days like Pioneer Day, a Native American museum, and a poetry cafe, and organizing and facilitating the 4th grade spelling bee. Congratulations, Mrs. Winslow. Best wishes for a fun-filled and relaxing retirement. Now I would like to invite Mr. William Coble up to the podium. Mr. Coble graduated from Bellport High School in 1972 and began his career at the high school in 1995. During his tenure as a custodian in the South Country Central School District, Mr. Coble has worked at the high school, Brookhaven Elementary School, and finishing at Frank P. Long Intermediate School as the head custodian for the past 9 years. He is most proud of never missing a snowstorm and always being available for the snow removal process. Every morning upon arrival, Mr. Coble is always there to greet you with a smile and offer his assistance in any way possible. When he is not at work, he enjoys spending time with his beautiful family, especially his grandchildren, and he enjoys fishing. Congratulations, Mr. Coble. We wish you well as you begin the next chapter in your life.
Dr. Raymond and Brookhaven.
I have the privilege of calling Ms. Jean Gray to the podium. Ms. Gray began her career in South Country in 1990 as a leave replacement in a resource room setting at Brookhaven. She has worked in multiple special ed settings throughout our district, but has spent the majority of her career teaching kindergarten through 3rd grade in an inclusion setting for the past 21 years. Most days you will find Ms. Gray helping students problem solve. Ms. Gray wants students to understand the power of their words and push them to find ways to make things right. Ms. Gray has been a strong advocate for all students, but specifically for those students who didn't feel like they were good enough. She's always believed that there is potential in every person and has challenged her students that they were better than they believed. Throughout her career, Ms. Gray has been involved in multiple district and building-wide initiatives. She has served as a mentor, a member of the K through 5 Balanced Literacy Task Force, chairperson for the Special Education Department, participated in curriculum writing, conducted parent meetings about special education, and has served as a senior BTA rep. Most recently, she has been an invaluable member of Brookhaven's Behavioral Response Intervention team. Ms. Gray reminds us every day that our work is never complete, but that it is so very rewarding. Her greatest legacy is that the relationships we form with each other and our students matter, and that it is within our power to help children know that they are loved and that in their lives they can have choice. Children's book author and illustrator Peter Reynolds was credited with saying, "Make your mark and see where it takes you." Ms. Gray has been a firm believer that your experience can mark you, but that it doesn't necessarily have to define you. She has undoubtedly left a mark on everyone that she has met. Thank you for your dedicated service, for always believing the potential of every person that you have met. You've challenged us to think, to feel, and to learn from your example. In looking towards retirement, Ms. Gray is looking forward to traveling, gardening, and continuing to serve as an advocate for troubled youth as well as their families. Best of luck in this exciting new chapter of your life.
And we'll step in the front for a photo.
It seems like deja vu. Last year, this time, we were saying farewell to 4 titans in the Kramer Kingdom, and here we find ourselves once again having to say farewell to 4 more titans of the Kramer Kingdom. Right now, I would like to invite up Miss Nancy Nolan, one of our teaching assistants. Miss Nolan has given, I just can't. I did, sorry. Just, there we go. So it has to be connected to, you guys got me this year, it has to stay connected, okay. Gotcha. Anyway, Miss Nolan has spent 32 years serving the students at Kramer. Miss Nolan has worked in general education and every setting in special education you can imagine. And regardless what setting Nancy's in, there's some things you can count on. That welcoming smile, there it is. That infectious optimism about life, and most of all, her unconditional love for children, which shines through every single day. Ms. Nolan, on behalf of the entire Kramer family, we can't thank you enough for being so much for so many and taking care of our kids for the past 32 years. You will be sorely missed. Thank you. This is good. They stopped me from. All right, now I'd like to ask Dr. Jacqueline Berger to please come up. Dr. Berger has spent the last 31 years giving of her talents to the children of the South Country School District. I actually met Dr. Berger 15 years ago when I was the Dean of Students at Bellport Middle School. I don't remember, Jack. And the first thing that I noticed about Jackie is that what a professional. Such attention to detail. Took her job so seriously. And was just, every time I saw her, whether I was in early or late, there's Dr. Berger in the hallways, working on behalf of the kids. So you can imagine, I don't know how many years ago it was, about 31, but it was about 6-7 years ago when you came?
Back to
Yeah, when I learned that Dr. Berger would be coming to Kramer, I nearly did cartwheels. Thank you, by the way, Ms. Carson. I haven't get really a chance to thank you for sending Dr. Berger to me. Couldn't be more ecstatic enough. And it doesn't take long to feel the impact that Dr. Berger has on a building. Not only does she provide amazing instruction, but she's such a great resource to our classroom teachers and helps the teachers and gives them ideas, interventions for those who are children having challenges in that domain of speech. And you're just always willing to go above and beyond. You've never said no, ever, to anything. It's remarkable. And they don't make them like you, Jackie. We will miss you dearly.
Thank you, Barbara.
Right now, I'd like to call up Dr. Berger's counterpart, our other speech therapist, Ms. Kathy Mulligan. I'm losing my entire speech department in 1 year. Kathy Mulligan has served the students of South Country for 19 years. I was fortunate enough, I think about 12 years ago, to steal her from Bellport High School, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, Ms. Hogan. And if you ever want to know or see a master speech therapist and what that person does, just come watch Mrs. Mulligan. Not only does she literally work wonders with children, and ask any of the teachers, any of the parents, they will say, works wonders with children. She also is an incredible asset to the classroom teachers and especially her special education department. I cannot tell you without exaggeration how often I see her and her team meeting about kids, not during the school day, but in the morning, I'm embarrassed to say, sometimes before you even get in, and well after hours, all day, and most of it on her own time, not school time, because these kids are so important to her, and you just never stop giving. And I really haven't met anyone who just enjoys their job like you do. Right. It's just, I know, it just radiates from you, Kathy. And you are going to be so sorely missed. I know your department is in mourning with me over this. And we thank you for everything. We hope we'll see you around still. And finally, I'd like to invite up the school psychologist of the Kramer Kingdom, our wonderful Mrs. Sue Smith-Alpert. Ms. Smith-Alpert has served the students of South Country for 28 years. I've had the pleasure of knowing her for my entire tenure at Kramer. If you speak to any student or any staff, any parent who's ever come in contact with Ms. Alpert or sought her out, they will testify what a very special, special person she is. The time, the advice, the compassion that she has for our whole school community cannot be overstated. And she does it so humbly and so under the radar, never seeking any acknowledgement whatsoever. It's those qualities that make your retirement such a huge loss for our building. I have talked to many in our communities, parents, staff, students. trying to imagine Kramer without you right now. We can't do it yet. It hasn't hit. We don't know what we'll do. We'll fill you, Sue, but we'll never, ever replace you. Thank you for everything you've done for our school community.
My pleasure.
I would like to
Good evening. Vern Kritz has two retirees that we will be honoring tonight. First, I would like to invite Mrs. Sue Justino up. Mrs. Justino began her career at South Country in 1986. The first building she worked at was in the Brookhaven Annex, where she was a special education teacher who worked with students in the ages 5 to 7 who had developmental disabilities. She worked alongside 3 colleagues and advocated for her students to be mainstreamed into their home schools. Their hard work paid off, and the students returned to their home schools, and Mrs. Justino began teaching at Kramer Street Elementary School. In 1993, she transferred to Vern Kritz Elementary School, where she taught the self-contained 3rd grade class. When the inclusion setting began in the district, Mrs. Justino requested to be part of it and started the grade 3 program at Kritz, where she was an inclusion teacher for 10 years before she taught a year of inclusion as a teacher in the 1st grade. Mrs. Justino then changed her tenure track and returned to teaching 3rd grade as the general education teacher, where she completed her career after 12 years. Congratulations, Mrs. Justino, on your retirement. You will be missed. Enjoy your time at the beach. And next, Dr. Kostakos, please come up. Dr. Kostakos, or better known in the building as Dr. K, began working in the South Country School District in 1989 as the school psychologist. He spent all of his 30 years in the district at Vern Kritz Elementary School. For many years of his time, though, he did have to be split between buildings. So he spent 5 years at Bellport High School, along with 5 years at Bellport Middle School. He spent 3 years at Kramer Street Elementary School, South Haven for 2 years, and Brookhaven Elementary School for 1 year. He missed one building, Frank Pilon. Each of these schools were fortunate to have Dr. K as part of their mental health team during his 30 years in the district. He is most proud of the supports he was able to provide students that had positive effects on their well-being and their future successes in life. Congratulations, Dr. K, on your retirement. Kritz wishes you well in the next chapter of your life.
Our next two retirees are from central office, and I'll be speaking on both of their behalfs. First, we have Lorraine Beals. Lorraine began in the district in September 1987 as a special education aide. After 8 years of service in that role, she moved to a substitute clerical and then was later promoted to dispatcher in 2010, a position she served in for the next 9 years until her retirement this past January. Lorraine was the hub of the Buildings and Grounds Department, connecting all the pieces, ensuring all our buildings operations ran smoothly and effectively. Lorraine, we thank you for your years of dedicated service to the district, and you truly will be missed. I do not know if Lorraine is here. Lorraine, are you here? Okay. Congratulations, Lorraine Beals. The next individual I know is here, Jorge Jimenez. You can come on down. Jorge began in the district in September of 1987 as a data processing programmer, a position he held for the next 31 years. Similar to Lorraine, Jorge was the hub of the technology department, the man behind the scene ensuring our technology infrastructure ran smoothly and without glitches. He was the go-to guy for technology questions as well as our student management system, which are critically important to our school district. Jorge, thank you for your 31 years of dedicated service to the district, and you are truly missed. Let's go. Our next recognitions are for Board of Education service. Unusually this year, we have 3 board members choosing to step down from their role as trustee, each for different reasons. With varied perspectives and diverse life experiences, each trustee brought something different to the board table. But one thing they shared was a commitment to the children of our district, the improvement of teaching and learning, and the betterment of South Country schools. This was evidenced by the questions they asked, the direction they gave, and the priorities they set, as well as the programs and activities they supported during their board service. Their service and leadership has also been recognized by Legislative Sunderman, as well as Senator Martinez, as well as Legislator Carlarco, who happens to be here this evening, who I'll invite down at this time. Unfortunately, Legislator Sunderman and Senator Martinez couldn't be here with us, but we do have proclamations recognizing their benevolent service and significant contributions to our school community. For me, it was and is a great pleasure serving with each of you. First, we have Dr. Anthony Griffin. Dr. Griffin. Board of Education term, July 2016 through June 2019. Member of the Board Advisory Committees for Teaching and Learning and Finance and Facilities. Congratulations. And thank you. Next, we have Carol Mallon. Board of Education terms, July 2013 through June 2016, and July 2016 through June 2019. Served as Board President, Vice President, July 2013 through June 2016, and Board President, July 2016 through June 2017. Member of the Board's Advisory Committees for Teaching and Learning and Strategic Planning, Carol Mallon. And next we have Cheryl Felice. Board of Education term, July 2016 through June 2019. Serving as Board President, July 2017 through June 2019. Member of Board's Advisory Committees for Teaching and Learning, Finance and Facilities, as well as Strategic Planning. Also serving as the Board of Education representative for South Country Community Leadership Network, Cheryl Felice. Now I'd like to give Legislator Kalaka the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Dr. Gianni, and it's a pleasure to join with everyone tonight as we wish fond futures to our board members who are leaving. You know, I am a son of a former school board member. My mother served on the school board where I grew up, and it gives me a lot of respect and admiration for what these individuals do, because it is a very difficult task at times to serve on a school board. At the end of the day, they're making decisions about the two things that we all care about most, our children and our money, and I know that they are doing their best to make sure that they do that. And obviously, if you look at the trajectory of the South Country School District over the last, I'd say even a little bit before your terms all started, it has been nothing but an upward trajectory of great things the school district's accomplishing, and certainly a lot of great things happened under your tenure. And serving as in a legislature, I fully understand that, as Dr. Gianni noted, each individual here brings a different perspective, a different viewpoint, different life experience to the body, and together that collective wisdom is what helps make our school district better and make the right decisions for our school district. So on behalf of the county legislature, I know my colleague, Legislator Sunderman, couldn't be here. Congratulations and thank you for all your service to our community.
Thank you. The three of us decided to take a point of personal privilege and just speak to you a little bit before we get back to the business at hand tonight. So we'll begin with Dr. Griffin.
First, congratulations to our retirees, all the best. Thank you so much for your service to the South Country School District, and to our newly tenured teachers. Welcome to the family, and we look for many more years, and in the blink of an eye, you'll be up here getting your retirement stuff. Just a quick note and a thank you. I think of being in this position like being in a car with 4 different drivers. Each person has a different route. Some people want to take the expressway, some people want to take the Northern State, some people people want to take side roads. But the one thing that I'm very privileged to say with our trustees is that even though we may have different perspectives, we all had one direction, and it was always up. And I think having that in mind when we made our decisions, disagreements, different philosophies, different perspectives, ultimately, we're always here for our community. And so I'm very proud to have spent the last 3 years here, and I appreciate the fact that I got to work with such amazing people, our administration, of course, and for our community, our family. So thank you all very much.
As an alumni, it has been a great privilege to come back and serve the community that shaped me to be the educator that I am today, and for 20 years. Wait, how could that be? So I want to greatly congratulate the retirees, congratulate the newly tenured, and thank this community, and I cannot conceive not being at this table after so long and the various roles, but we have wonderful things going on here, and we leave it to new hands, and I look forward to what's next for the upcoming year.
So I, too, would like to echo the comments that were made by Ms. Malin and by Dr. Griffin. We had a wonderful run, and I want to thank this community for embracing this board and through its diversity and through its challenges in meeting the needs of this district. I did have some prepared remarks tonight, which I wasn't able to bring with me, and it's deeply sad for me to have to leave the board. It's not something that I wanted to do, but an opportunity was presented to me, and so I couldn't do both. I couldn't do a service to both. And so I'm not going away. My plan is to help the district in an even greater capacity, but I just want to say how grateful I am for having the exposure that I did to the education system from South Country School District. I had the opportunity of attending some ceremonies at other school districts, and let me tell you, the first thing I noticed was the cleanliness of this building compares to none other. And all of our school district, all of our schools within our school district. Now, so it starts from the very people who take care of our maintenance, buildings and grounds, right up through our educators, our support staff, our administrators. We really are a district that's second to none. So if I well up during the night because I am saddened over having to leave you, I had a deep personal loss today. I had to put my dog down today, but I had to be here with you, because it's important to recognize all the work and all the years that we have in our retirees, and to recognize the new careers that are starting with our tenured people. So I just want to thank you for embracing this board and me, and I look forward to good things in the future. Thank you. So we have some more business to take care of.
Yes, I would ask that the board move item H4 up on the agenda for action, please.
Is there a motion to move H4 up on the agenda? Motion by Ms. Malin, seconded by Mr. Nix. Any objection? I assume there's no objection. The people out in the audience are waiting with great anticipation, so let's not hold them up. There's no objection to moving the item up on the agenda.
Okay, therefore, administration recommends approval of personnel changes reflected in Schedule H4.
So H4 is before you. Tenure recommendations. Is there a motion and a second? Ms. Malin would like to make the motion, and Mr. Trent would like to make the second? Yes? Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of H4, please raise your hands. Thank you. Put all the hands down. Seeing all hands raised, motion H4 is passed unanimously.
And now I'd like to read off the tenure recipients, and I ask that you please stand and remain standing. I'll do it by building. Gaetano Greco. Matthew Hershaft. Amy Karp. I always mess this up. Amy Krowitz. I'm sorry. Caitlin Catrone. Victoria Hogan. Christina Perano. Stephen Schwicke. Kyle Sherlock. Judy Kaiser Kryrolab. Dusty Deary. Kimberly Narisco. Janine O'Shea. Alice Smith. Genevieve Piazza. Melissa Gascon. And Ashley Sagastino. Let's give them all a round of applause and welcome them to the family. Okay, we're going to take a very brief break to allow you all to decide if you're going to stick around for the public session.
We'll have to stay, that's
or leave. Yeah. Trustee Pacini said it's a contingent on tenure.
Call the...
Test. Excuse me, we'd like to have all the tenure recipients down in the front for a group photo, please.
King Charles Cavalier.
Congratulations.
13 and a half years old. 13 and 3/4.
Congratulations, Mr. Hershaft, correct?
It was a rough week.
Congratulations.
Sucks no matter when you do it.
I hope you know what you've gotten yourself into.
What subject?
I haven't been in a classroom all the years, but I got 33 years in.
All right, Liz, you're in charge of organizing.
More great things to come.
Congratulations. Go take a picture of Mom. Go in the front, take a picture. Unless you're starting over. Right? It's a tough day, and Lorraine's like, you going to the meeting? I said, no. You going to the meeting? No. You have to go to the meeting. No. You go to the meeting?
And I'm so glad.
Yeah, man.
Come on, man. I'm glad he didn't ask. Yeah, I was like,
Crying all day. So, you know, it was very peaceful.
well, it is. It's your family.
But the show must go on.
We got this.
The show must go on. I mean, I've missed one meeting. Go team!
Thank you for always being at all the concerts.
You're welcome.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome. I'll still be there. Bye-bye. Good luck. Bye-bye. Good luck.
Congratulations.
And how do you like this for
They had that
Here's your
one
flag.
where you got to go in.
Here's your name. What's your home?
Pizza meeting?
I was like,
Pizza meeting.
I guess.
Did they give you yours? Okay, it's still in there. You know why? This was from the first meeting. This one must say president. That's why. That's why. I'll take that one.
It doesn't have to be long. No, it doesn't. No. No, it does not have to be. See if I can do something like that.
He started using it. Favorite movies of all time.
All right,
Many
what do we
people are
got?
hanging around, President.
What would you like me to do? Get.
Just kidding.
No, we'll just start the meeting. Then once we
Just
start the
kidding.
meeting, they'll leave.
Yeah, we could just. Well, good. We got who? Just Chris and Chris, John.
I have a lot of signing to do tonight. All right, so we have to go back.
We still got rest of communications, which I don't have much.
Do we have the board members?
Nah, well, Chris is coming. We just lost Anthony and Cameron. I don't know where he is.
Okay.
Stay for the minute.
All right, we'll give it 5 more minutes. We have a presentation tonight. Oh, we have capstone?
So I've been pressing the button for the whole first part of that meeting, and it wasn't happening. It started up right away when I was doing the exec session.
Those touchpads are very fussy.
5th grade, I think.
That's
That's
not functioning. Yeah, it was spinning and then it stopped.
yeah. Once it comes up, there we go. I have trouble with those too. I think you're doing okay now.
As long as they don't shut it off again.
And as long as I'm up there, just wave.
Yeah.
Christine, I'm going to break this out.
They're back.
Hey, congrats, Stephen, all right? Good luck. Not a single community member in the entire audience. It's on the bus the whole rest of the meeting. Huh? I know, it's on the bus. I had that, and they bought me before.
Okay?
That's why.
I don't, that's why.
That's a question from last time. You said that our very first meeting. I feel like I just said that. After that, God
Actually, presentations, there's nobody to see it.
All right, we'd like to call the meeting back to order. All board members are present. Is our clerk ready? Okay. All right, we are up to
Moving on communications.
communications, so trustees.
I got some.
Oh, you have more?
Yeah, I have a little bit.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Yes, so moving on with communications and announcements, by way of a 2019-20 sports wrap-up, I'm proud to report that we won league championships in girls volleyball.
Just hold on one second. Could we just have that, the door closed, please?
Thank you. So by way of 2019-20 sports wrap-up, I am proud to report we won league championships in girls volleyball, boys basketball, wrestling, and boys spring track. This year we honored 17 all-county athletes, 2 all-county honorable mention, 2 academic all-county, 4 all-state athletes, and 1 all-American. We also have 33 student athletes continuing their studies and athletic careers in college, 6 of which have earned athletic scholarships. So congratulations are in order to the student athletes, their families, along with the coaches and school personnel that guided them. Congratulations are also in order to Trustee Piccini, who was recently elected to the Executive Board of the Nassau-Suffolk School Boards Association. The organization is one which seeks legislative action to protect and sustain Long Island's public schools. Congratulations, Mr. Piccini.
Thank you.
And that is all the announcements that I have, President Felice.
Okay, then we will move on to trustee reports. And why don't we start with Mr. Trent?
I just wanted to congratulate the...
Speak into the microphone, please.
I just wanted to congratulate the retiring teachers and also the 17 newly tenured teachers as well.
Thank you, Mr. Trent. Dr. Griffin?
Likewise, congrats to the retirees and the newly tenured teachers. I had the pleasure of going to the National Junior Honor Society induction last week at the Bellport Middle School, and it's everything we always talk about without any asterisks or any kind of yeah buts. It was pure. Academic excellence, great students, great families, great leadership. Thank you, Dr. Colson, Mr. Frankie, Mr. Watson, Ms. Sicaro, Mr. DePuma, and my apologies, but I'm forgetting the advisor in charge, Dr. Colson? Mrs. DeVito. Wonderful job, a beautiful evening, and just wonderful to be part of South Country. If you've never been, I'm sure the high school, I'm looking forward to seeing high school inductions. Wonderful. And also, speaking of wonderful, we had amazing weather today for the third grade picnic. Seeing the third graders heading off to Frank P. Long. They're all excited. Thank you, Dr. Raymond, Ms. Calamaris, and Mrs. DeVito from DeVito, wouldn't that be appropriate? For the PTA. The Brookhaven family was there in force, and it was just such a great moment. It's almost like if you were creating a movie about what the ideal school would look like with the diversity and with the fun and with the weather. It was perfect. And it just makes you proud to be part of the South Country School District. So thank you to everyone at the Brookhaven Elementary School. Thank you.
And Mr. Nix.
I just want to congratulate, am I on? Okay. I just want to congratulate the 5 students who participated in the Teenie Awards for our theater program. That was very exciting to see because we have such a strong theater program within our school district, and it was just a beautiful thing for it to be acknowledged county-wide, or I think Long Island-wide, if I'm not mistaken, actually. I also got the opportunity to attend the Senior Awards with President Felice, Trustee Trent, and Trustee DeSanto. It was really exciting to see all of our graduating seniors get all of their accolades. It was a beautiful thing, a very good ceremony, so I congratulate all of them, and thank you to Mr. Hogan for running that event. And I just want to say thank you for another great school year as I wrap up my second year here on the board. And I just want to say thank you to the outgoing trustees, Dr. Griffin, Ms. Mallon, and President Felice. I'll say more in my closing, but it's truly been a pleasure working with them, and I really look forward to working with our new board, which will come together in the reorganization meeting, and working with Mr. Trent, Ann Hayes, Melissa Aruda, and Clyde Parker, and I'm sure that Mr. Pacini and Ms. DeSanto feel the same. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nix. Ms. DeSanto.
This is like going back in the olden days when we had the microphones. Brings back flashbacks here. As everyone has stated, I can't begin to express the magnitude of my best wishes to the retirees. I am so thankful for their service to this district. Some of them I have had the pleasure of, I'd say, working with as a parent for 18 years now in this school district, so I am sad to see them go, but I do hope that their retirement is as joyful and long as their service has been to our district. It's always great to see a new group of tenured teachers, and I'm looking forward to seeing their continued success in our district and all the wonderful things that I'm sure that they will be adding to what I've always said is that the hidden gem of South Country. As Mr. Nixon mentioned, I did have the pleasure of being at Senior Awards Night with my two hats, being a board member and a mom, and I did once again want to extend my gratitude to the South Country community in their tremendous support for so many of our students and in the amazing array of scholarships that are offered to our students for all the talents that they have. And it's really nice to have a community that recognizes all of our students in so many different ways. And the scholarships are certainly not only a nice thing to receive, but certainly very helpful to many students who do struggle with paying for college. I did also, of course, as always, attended the final concerts at the high school, both the regular concert and the chamber choir concert, and I'm always moved by the end of the year concert, and again, I have to say personally, this one was a little tough for me, as I was sitting with some of the other parents of some of the other seniors, and we said, okay, this is the beginning of the crying season, because we've been crying all month long, and that will continue. It's tears of joy and sometimes tears of, oh my goodness, we finally got through this, but it's almost there. I also did last night attend one of my favorite events in all the years that I've been active here at the school district, the Frank P. Long Courtyard Concert. And it could not have been a more perfect evening weather-wise, and the fact that the music is always wonderful, and it's amazing to see how talented our intermediate students are, and to add to it, the beautiful courtyard. So if it wasn't for the turf that we were able to put down, there would not have been a courtyard concert last night after all the rain. So thankfully, that made it possible. Last night it dried, and it was just an amazing setting for a concert. So it was really wonderful to be able to catch part of that last evening. And let me see any other notes. I think that sums it up for now, and I'll save some of the comments for the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santo. Ms. Malin?
No,
So I'd just like to mirror the sentiments of everyone else that it is the time to celebrate here in South Country. And of course, that is our retirements, that's our newly tenureds, that's our seniors graduating, our little ones moving up from building to building. And the end of the year is bittersweet for many, but it's full of celebration and exciting things. So it always reminds us of what's to come in the future. So in my last opening remarks, I just want to say I can't wait to see where all of this goes. So, thank you.
And Mr. Pacini.
Thank you. I too want to congratulate everybody that's here. I will say next year, can we not release everybody until the board can make a few comments?
Yeah, we should.
I wasn't going to say anything because everybody's gone. Then I went to YouTube and figured maybe there'd be people there, and there's one person watching, and I think that one person is me. So, anyway, let's see. Maybe we're up to 2. So it's me and somebody else. Hello. Anyway, you know, it's
Scott. Just logged on. Well, we just doubled our viewing.
So, yeah, exactly. We're up 100%. So anyway, well, first let me say thank you for mentioning the Nassau Suffolk School Board Association. It truly is an honor to be a part of an organization outside of our district and be able to advocate for students all over Long Island, Nassau Suffolk. It really was an honor to be nominated and a big honor to be elected. So thank you for that. And I do, even though they're not here, want to recognize all those that received tenure tonight and who were recognized for their retirement and their time here at South Country. This is my 7th year sitting at a meeting where we honor tenurees and retirees. And, you know, as you do this long enough and as your kids get older, you really, you know, in the beginning, you know, some teachers and it's great. Now you sit here and you really start to see teachers and staff members who had an impact on your children's lives. And it is, it's a little bit more special as you do this longer and as your kids get older. So it was a nice night tonight, and I was glad that I had an opportunity and we didn't take too long in executive session, and I was able to greet everybody that, you know, had an impact on my children's lives. In addition, and on, you know, with the newly tenured teachers, when I looked at the list, I guess first time I looked at it, I glanced at it, and then I really went through it tonight, and I was like, you know, wow, I didn't realize how many people I either have a personal relationship with or I may have helped earlier in their career or even recommended during the interview process. So it was with great pride for me to see that they made it through the tenure process and are now going to be with us for many, many years, hopefully. So congratulations to all them. I did make an inquiry on our break. There is one person who wasn't recognized, and I was told it's because he resigned and he didn't necessarily retire. So I don't mean to embarrass him, and you can't really be too embarrassed because nobody's here, but Waverly Busby has been nothing short of a treasure to our district. I don't know how long he's been here, but I got the pleasure of meeting him when my oldest was in kindergarten 9 years ago, 12 years. And I remember the first time I walked into that building and had to wait to move on into the building, and you watch the rows of classes walk by, and every kid says hello to Mr. Busby, and Mr. Busby knows every one of their names while he tells them to not talk or run in the hallway. So it was with sadness that he took the district-wide job, and he wasn't there at Critz anymore, but more people got the benefit of being around him. So good luck in South Carolina? South Carolina. Enjoy your retirement or your resignation, as some call it. I say your second retirement after a storied career with the NYPD. You've really had an impact on a lot of lives here. So good luck to you and your family and as you enter the next, I guess, the third phase of your adult life. The last thing I have is yesterday, was it yesterday? Yes, I had the privilege of going on a field trip as a chaperone. And the third grade trip this year, and you know, as my oldest went through, everybody knows what the trip is, and they've shuffled around a little bit. We went to the Vanderbilt Museum and Planetarium up in Centerport, and I believe it was the first time the third grade from Critz had gone there. And it kind of renewed something that I kind of, I guess, put aside when you hear people say it, and it's just the importance of field trips. And it was something that was different. and it wasn't, you know, the beach and all those things are great, but they got to see some things and learn some history that I don't think they normally would have been exposed to. My kids have been there about 3 times because I love that place, but it was really great, and it really kind of got my mind going when they looked at and they learned about the Vanderbilt family and some of the explorations of them and the animals and the wildlife. And if you've never been there, it is a worthy trip on a beautiful day with the family and kids to learn a little history and just enjoy the grounds on the North Shore up there. It really is a beautiful place. And I think that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ricchini, and my apologies for the release. Next year, have your board president control the agenda, not your superintendent. You're the one who released them, but we do apologize.
I made a note of it.
All right. Okay, that brings us to, are you okay?
Yeah, I didn't know you were ready to move on.
Yeah. Public commentary. Do we have any public commentary? Any cards? No cards, Chris? Okay. All right.
President Felice, one thing I did forget to mention, I've been losing my notes in between flipping my glasses up and down. Would love to recognize Mrs. Mason and the wonderful job that she does with our culinary students, because
yes, the superintendent made mention of that inside.
I personally wanted to do that, and I'm hoping that in the next school year we can look at other ways that we can utilize that particular program.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any final comments before we move on to items for discussion and action? Okay. All right, so first on the agenda is item F1, the capstone presentation.
Yes, our first item for discussion this evening is a presentation on AP Capstone. The board will recall we had an AP Capstone presentation back in October, and at that time, administration promised to come back to the board after doing some school visitations and before deciding how we might proceed here with a program at South Country. We have a number of individuals with us this evening and joining us in making the presentation, which was already made to the Teaching and Learning Advisory Committee, and I'd like to start off by introducing Mr. Small.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gianni, and good evening, Board of Education. On a point of personal privilege, I want to take my opportunity to publicly thank the members of the board who are, I would say, retiring from the board. I want to give special thanks to Dr. Griffin and Mrs. Mallin, who also serves on the Teaching and Learning Committee, and the presentation that we are about to present, their input and thoughts and encouragements are in it. So I want to thank them for that encouragement and their support. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your service. We thank you for everything you do for our children. I also want to thank Mr. Busby for his service as well. And it's good to know, Mr. Busby, that you are well loved and well respected, because oftentimes when I'm in the building, children will misidentify me for Mr. Busby. So I am looking forward to being called Mr. Busby next year, because I know when they do call me Mr. Busby, it's coming from a place of love. So thank you, sir. As Dr. Gianni said earlier this year, we did make a presentation to the Board of Education about AP Capstone, because we do believe that this program will be of great value to the students at Bellport High School. We believe that it will give our students the college and career readiness skills that they will need to succeed. It will teach them how to work collaboratively, how to conduct research, how to problem solve and think critically. And it will also teach them how to speak publicly. And these are just some of the things that they will need as they move on to college and move on to careers if they so choose to do. This year, we have embarked on a research phase in this program to bring it to South Country. And we went to a few schools on Long Island. And so tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Hogan, our high school principal, Mr. Arini, our director of guidance, Mr. Burke, our director of STEM, and Mrs. O'Hagan, who will give us an overview of the program and recommend to you what we're proposing to do if we should get your green light to implement the program here at Bellport. Thank you.
Good evening, and thanks for allowing us to come and speak to you and remind you of some of the things that we have done about AP Capstone and to update you on where we are in our research. Just to remind you a little bit, we want to talk about the AP Capstone program and some of the components of it, since it was October when we talked to you previously about that. AP Capstone is an advanced program that the College Board has designed to develop students in 21st century learning skills. The program is aligned to New York State learning standards. The program consists of 2 individual courses. They are seminar and research, and we'll be talking more about what each of those courses consists of in just a moment. Within the program, students can complete team projects, they complete individual projects, they do independent research, and they also take an AP exam. As the students complete the program, they're developing skills that will help them be successful in other AP courses and other AP exams, as well as just all of their courses. And we believe that AP Capstone would be a great benefit to the students at South Country. And now, Mr. Arini.
So we've had the pleasure of speaking with the board as well as the teaching and learning committee before, and we've spent a lot of time talking about all the benefits of the program, and we're going to revisit some of them this evening. There are a lot of reasons why we believe that AP Capstone could add tremendous equity to our building and lead to profound outcomes for our students. And all of the students, they'll be working towards achieving multiple things. And at the end of the road, there's the opportunity for students to earn some credentials that can really help separate them. And I'd like to speak to that for a moment. So if a student engages in the AP Capstone program and they complete AP Seminar and AP Research prior to graduation, and if they receive a score of 3 or better in both of those courses, they're able to graduate and be recognized with the AP Seminar and Research Certificate, which is a wonderful honor. Even more so if a student is able to complete both of those courses and they're able to receive a 3 or better in both of those courses. And in addition to, they take 4 other AP exams throughout their high school career in which they receive a 3 or better. They get to be recognized with an AP Capstone diploma, which is a very special honor, and it's not something very many students are able to achieve. So this program, which we'll speak about for the next few minutes, it's going to add a lot to our students. It's going to support them with really fantastic instruction. It's going to give them experiences inside and outside the classroom, but it's also going to separate them from the pack when they are applying to colleges, okay? And one of the things that we want to do to help prepare our students to be college and career ready is we want to identify what is going to help them achieve their goals in the future, whether it's college, career, armed services, trade school. When it comes to applying to 4-year colleges, AP Capstone is particularly going to be able to separate them from students, say, in other schools, where now they're going to be able to elevate their game and their resume and their application and be a tremendous asset and seen as a tremendous asset at that college and university, and hopefully increase our 4-year college going rate.
So we are very excited about the first course that our Bellport High School students would be taking, and that's AP Seminar. So some of the components and the highlights of AP Seminar are as followed. Bellport High School students would be able to develop and practice the skills in research, collaboration, and communication that students need in any academic discipline. They'd be able to investigate topics in a variety of subject areas. As you know, we went to many school districts to see AP Capstone, and the students we spoke to in the other districts were so passionate about the topics that they studied and researched. And they were so passionate about the topics because they chose those topics, and they were very complex topics. So it was really great to get the opportunity to talk to these students about the topics that they chose. And they really presented to us the evidence based on these topics, but they also spoke from the heart. So it was really great to see that from them. In terms of writing research-based essays, students told us themselves in other districts that they really learned how to do argument writing, and they were so proud of themselves of how much they grew in their writing skills. And their design, and they can really present very well in terms of working in a team and working individually. We're all really excited about how they're assessed in their work. It's not just an end of the year exam, so they're going to be assessed through multiple measures. So the first part of that would be the team project and presentation. The second part would be the individual research-based essay and presentation, and then the end of the course exam. So the students would be assessed on multiple measures.
The second course of the AP Capstone program is the AP Research course. In the research course, the students are deeply digging into a particular academic area of their own interest. They're building upon the skills that they learned in the seminar class to become independent researchers. They're designing a year-long plan and making the research-based investigation to address a particular research question that they have designed. And they are furthering the skills that they acquired in the seminar class through learning about research methodology, ethical research practices, and synthesizing information about their research question. The way that the students are assessed in the research course is through a portfolio where they are gathering artifacts of the research that they've done along the way, and they complete a final an academic paper that's 4,000 to 5,000 words. Along with that, they do a presentation and an oral defense, just like a doctoral program would do, where they do the research and defend that as well. Now, when we spoke with you in October, we had identified a particular timeline of what implementing AP Capstone would consist of. And so we want to go through that timeline just very quickly. Upon board approval for the implementation of AP Capstone, this year we did our research and study phase, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about some of the specific findings from that. Upon approval, we would next year in the 1920 year, we would do our planning for the first round of implementation. We would finalize all the details. We would list AP Seminar in the Bellport High School course catalog, and the AP Seminar teachers and administrators would attend a week-long workshop that is in the summer of 2020. Following that, in the 2021 school year would be our first round of implementation. The first cohort of students would begin taking AP Seminar. In addition to that, that year the AP Research course would be included in the high school course catalog, and then the research teachers and administrators would be attending that week-long training in the following summer in 2021. After that then would be the full implementation, where we have both the AP Seminar course and the AP Research course taking place at Bellport High School. And now, Mr. Hogan.
So when we met earlier in the year, we came to you, this team came to the board and came to Teaching and Learning with an idea. We wanted to explore AP Capstone and see if it would potentially be a good fit for Bellport High School students. With your blessing, the team behind me, including Mr. Small, we went on numerous visits. So you can see before you, we went and visited 5 different high schools on Long Island, all implementing AP Capstone. Now, AP Capstone is a fairly new program, which we've shared with you before. It's probably been in existence about 5 or 6 years. So we were very fortunate that we were able to go and attend 5 different site visits where we were able to see the implementation of AP Capstone through 5 different models, 5 different timelines. We were able to hear what worked for them, what pitfalls they ran into, what support that they needed, and most importantly, what they wish that they knew when they started out. And it was extremely informative. In addition to that, we went to collegial circles, both in Suffolk and Nassau County. And if we receive the blessing of the board to continue down this path, our intention next year and in the future is to continue to revisit our partners in other schools and continue to attend the collegial circles and continue to build the program in a meaningful way, constantly retooling and reevaluating what we're doing and communicating with neighboring districts that have found a lot of success with their AP Capstone program.
We were so very fortunate to go on these school visits. We were able to visit classrooms as courses were being taught, so live lab sites. We spoke with program leaders, teachers, students, and central and building administrators. They gave us, a tremendous amount of advice in terms of grade level implementation, teaching models, credits, teacher training, implementation, and really publicizing the program. What we really felt from these school visits is that together they all believed in the program and the success of the program, and the program was about kids. And that's why it was so successful at the school visits we visited. I think I see a South Country Soars hashtag coming up. So these are some of our pictures on Twitter. The first is Seaford High School. Then we have Massapequa High School. Shoreham-Wading River High School. Patchogue Medford High School. I remember that student to the right talking so passionately about the topic she chose. It was a very complex topic, and she was so very proud of her work. And to the left, those are my former students at Amityville High School that I had in 9th grade. So seeing them was very meaningful to me, and seeing how much they grew from 9th grade, having them as freshmen going through AP seminar, just in terms of their critically thinking skills and their communication skills and them presenting, they were so proud of their work. So seeing them blossom was really powerful for me.
Okay, and then we wanted to present to you what our recommendations are moving forward now that we've spent a lot of time this year visiting other schools. In the fall of 2021, we would offer AP seminar to students beginning in the 10th grade. Seminar would provide students with English language arts credits. And we are looking to implement a co-taught model with an ELA teacher and another core content area teacher, likely in social studies. And as that continued in year 2, in the fall of 21-22, we would introduce the AP research program to students beginning in the 11th grade. That would provide students with core subject area credit depending on the teaching staff that we identify and also the research topics. Again, those would be core content areas. And then we are also recommending that that be taught in a co-taught model as well. And then finally, our training that we are proposing, recommending, our seminar teachers and administrators, participating administrators, would be trained in the summer of 2020 before the implementation of seminar, and then research teachers and administrators in the summer of 2021. All right. Mr. Small.
And so one of the things that we will start doing next school year is to start building the awareness of our staff, to start engaging with parents and students about the program, to start drumming up support so that we can have our parents and students be knowledgeable about the program, and to also start having teachers who are interested in being a part of the program start identifying those teachers next year. We also want to start looking at furniture to start giving our students more opportunity, flexible seating, so we could start the process of identifying spaces in the high school and the furniture that will lend itself for students to work collaboratively together and move away from the traditional classroom setting. And another thing that we will do we will also introduce when we start the seminar program is to also introduce in 9th grade the pre-AP English course in 9th grade, which will also provide students with the opportunity and exposure for those students who will be interested and want to be interested in the seminar program in 10th grade. Okay, and so those are our recommendation. We plan to have a course proposal to the board in the fall for approval, and then we'll start the work of having the courses listed in the course catalog for students to start selecting for the following year. Thank you. We're open for any questions, comments, or concerns. Thank you.
We'll open it up to the board for questions or comments. Anyone? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Mallon.
Oh, that's okay. My one question was just about the ELA credit, so they wouldn't take a traditional English course, they would take this in lieu of that English course?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the seminar would be taught by English teacher.
Correct. I just wanted to make sure that I read it and interpreted it.
Anybody else? Yes, Dr. Griffin?
I have a few. First one, what did you see? Am I on? You can hear me? Yeah, we can. Anyway. How many students do you anticipate? Like, what's, from your research, how many students from Pat Med, from Shoreline River, what's the percentage of kids that are going into Capstone of available students? Like, do you have any idea about what we're anticipating in terms of enrollment for the course?
I think part of what we will have to do next year is how we engage in an education campaign to bring awareness to the program with our students. Also going down into the middle school and building awareness. So that's one thing we are intending to do next year, is to start on a campaign of making sure that students and teachers and guidance counselors are aware and parents are aware. So we will have information sessions for parents as well. In different districts, the amount of students were varied. Some, for example, we went to Massapequa. Remember, they have multiple sections. We saw universally across the districts that we visited, AP seminar typically has more students. And then as they go to research, some districts' children have the opportunity to either not take it or skip a year. So in 11th grade, they will take a regular English course and do the research in 12th grade. And so those are the things that we are looking at. We know that the interest for seminar will be high because it will be counted as an English credit. The research phase is where you will see kids choosing to either skip 1 year and take it in senior year. One of the things that we found most powerful was our conversations with children, where some children were so articulate in explaining that they saw research, for example, taking it in 12th grade as a stepping stone to what they will do when they go to college, right? And so it's the idea of giving our children that choice, right? For them to choose topics they're interested in, that motivates them, that they want to learn more about, but also that they know will prepare them for the work that they know lie ahead of them when they move on.
Kind of along the same lines, one of the things that they do in the middle schools, they start to talk about guidance, students meet with the guidance counselor. I think part of the training.
Yes.
How is that going to work with the guidance counselors so that they're aware, and how are you going to navigate that? I think that's another issue that you're looking at. How do you navigate to push kids towards AP Capstone, going from 8th grade to 9th grade, so that the numbers are things we can handle? And because I'm thinking it can go one of two ways. Either everybody wants it, nobody wants it.
Okay, so as we said, we are going to build awareness. We want College Board want this to be a program for all children, and we want to encourage all children to take it, right? So it's not a matter of channeling certain kids there. We want exposure. We want all kids to be informed, and we want to encourage all children to take the opportunity to take these courses. So the work we will do is to ensure that all our teachers, guidance counselors, our administrators are all on the same page in terms of what our expectations are. It is not going to be an exclusive club, but we want it to be something that's open to all children.
So the getting in will be by teacher recommendation?
Encouragement.
Depends, like, what's the process? What does AP Capstone recommend in terms of
Open enrollment.
open enrollment? There's no standard, there's no test, there's
No.
no one's excluded. Everybody who wants to can get it.
Yes.
Mr. Santo?
Well, just to add to that, because we had this discussion at the committee meeting, and I was hoping, sometimes when we have these nights, and if we call it AP Capstone Night, chances are that then becomes an exclusive club. So I was hoping for next year we bring back our overall curriculum fair that we've had a few years back, where it was much more open and many different students came to that night, and I was hoping then something like this could be featured in that, so that the general population shows up for those fairs as opposed to, oh, it's AP, that's not for me. So I'm hoping we'll bring that back next year, because the 2 years that we did have it, there were many people who showed up that generally didn't always show up for the other things, and they were very pleasantly surprised what they saw in regards to what we have available at the high school. And if we bring it back again and really advertise it at the middle school, not just for 8th graders, but 6th and 7th grade parents to come and start to see, this is what you can begin to plan for with your middle school students. Making it more of a long-range plan. This is what we do and how we do it, and something to look forward to. So,
and
it's that vertical articulation. It bridges that gap.
And to Mr. Santos' point, the Capstone program, when it was introduced in the Teach and Learn Committee, was the first time I had attended the Teach and Learn Committee. I was attending all the others, but not that one, because I was not a teacher, and I was trusting. I was leaving it in the hands of our trustee teacher members of the board, and I was so impressed by the work that was about to be done, and equally as impressed now. Something that I think the program our district would benefit from its program. So, having said that, many of us are leaving the board, and we have new members of the board coming up. And I would hope that you would feel as passionate about it as we did to get to this point. And that it would go forward and the research continue, and that the implementation will certainly happen. There was one question that was wanted to be asked by a community member, but doesn't need to wait till the end, so I'm going to ask the question for her. And so that question is, will the AP classes that students are taking now count towards Capstone if it's implemented? Can someone answer that, please?
Yes, because
the answer is yes.
It's retroactive.
Okay, the answer is yes. Okay, good? Okay. All right, thank you. Any other comments?
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Griffin.
A couple other questions. You mentioned that they identified the district you visited had some pitfalls. What were some of them, and were there any that you felt we would need to address as a district, and how were they addressed in the other districts?
So each district took us through their path, right? And we heard a lot of great things, but they were very helpful in identifying, some areas where a little additional insight was beneficial. So for example, mentorship is a large part of AP Capstone. So we were able to hear what different districts had to do and how they overcame some of the obstacles. Some districts, they had no problem getting mentors. Other districts, they struggled. It was a little harder for them to find meaningful mentors for the AP Capstone students. The co-teaching model versus just a single teacher in the classroom, asking an AP seminar teacher to be both the AP seminar and the AP research teacher and what that looks like, having a proper training and making sure that they fully understood, making sure that they're not working in a vacuum, and most importantly, having support from administration to make sure that they can be successful. So there was nothing that they told us that we couldn't prepare for and overcome, but it was certainly helpful to hear some of their experiences.
Thank you. Just two other quick points. It sounds like it would be a technology-heavy course. Are we prepared to provide the students the technology they'll need to be successful? I know we've done the Chromebooks. Is that what we're going to use? Is there something in place where the technology, because you talk about research, talk about 5,000 word papers, what's the plan for that?
Well, Jackie, want to speak to? Well, the Chromebook is the chief mode of what the kids are using. I have to tell you that one of the concerns, one of the things that I have been thinking about, and is something that as a district, as a school, we will have to tackle. In other districts that I've been in my former districts and in districts that I know, students are able to take their Chromebooks home, right? So they could have access to computers anytime they need to do so. Here we have where it stays in the classroom. And I think at a certain point, a decision or a discussion must be had about giving students access to their Chromebooks at all times so they could conduct research at all times and not just limited to being in the classrooms, right? So that's a more in-depth discussions that we need to have, that if we are going to give kids the Chromebooks to use, is it something that we're going to restrict just to the classroom, or are we going to treat it like a textbook that we send home with the kids so they could read it in the evenings at home, and so they could use the Chromebooks at home as well? So those are just some things that I think at a certain point discussions will have to be had about, so we are fully giving kids access at all times to the resources that they will need to do the work that needs to be done.
And just a final question?
Yes, sir.
In terms of teacher training,
Yes.
that's starting September. When are we actually, because this sounds like
It's
retraining our teachers to address and teach in a different
Yes.
manner than they might be used to.
So one of the things that we are definitely going to do this year is try, once we start identifying teachers who are interested or want to be interested, is to start doing some site visits again with those teachers so we could connect them with teachers who are already part of the program. They will have to do a training session in the summer prior to start teaching the program. But training will be an ongoing process. It's not one and you're done. It's continuously training the teachers to be a part of the conversations that are going on, to be part of the collegial circles that AP College Board has on Long Island. So training will be an ongoing process with the teachers who are involved in the program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Look forward to next year and the years after that.
Okay, so formal approvals will be beginning in the fall during course approvals, when we present new courses to the board, and so on. So we have your blessing to move forward.
I believe so. Any objection? Please move forward. And thank you very much to the committee for all your hard work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item for discussion is the second reading of the strategic plan for school years 2017 through 2022. The board's advisory committee for strategic planning has spent a large part of last school year as well as this school year reviewing and updating the plan, which is set to expire this June. Using more current baseline data, new targets were developed for school year 1920 and school year 2021. It is important to note that one of our challenges the committee had was the data reliability due to not meeting participation and performance criteria based with extremely low numbers of students who sat for the New York State assessment. As a result, the Strategic Planning Committee determined that while refusals have decreased, the reduction was not significant enough or large enough to be considered reliable. Since the first reading on May 22nd, we did receive some feedback from a community member regarding the graduates table on page 19 being a bit confusing in terms of total diplomas earned, as well as no mention of career development occupational studies pathway for diplomas. After reviewing the table, I met with the committee and agreed that adjustment needed to be made, and we have made that adjustment. However, that adjustment has not changed the significance of the document. I offer this plan for the board's consideration and action this evening.
So we'll need a motion and a second, and then we can open up discussion. Motion and a second to approve the strategic planning. Motion by Mr. Nix, seconded by Ms. Malin. Is there any discussion? Just the only discussion I would like to make on it is the intense work that the subcommittee, the strategic planning, did on this plan, including new board member Ms. Ann Hayes. She did a tremendous amount of work on proofing this document as well as the entire committee. So it certainly was a labor of love.
Yes, it was.
Any other comments on the strategic planning before we take the vote? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Put them down. Seeing all hands raised. The strategic plan for 2017-2022 is adopted unanimously.
Thank you. The next item for discussion and action is the meeting date for the board's reorganization and first business meeting, which is currently scheduled for Wednesday, July 10th. When approving the schedule at our last meeting, the board asked me to reach out to new trustees to determine their availability the week of July 2nd or July 3rd. I've done that and determined that all 2019-20 trustees are available either July 2nd or July 3rd. Administration's recommendation for the board's consideration is to change the current scheduled reorganization meeting and first business meeting from Wednesday, July 10th to Wednesday, July 3rd. I simply suggest Wednesday the 3rd because that is the traditional day the board meets. I offer this change for the board's consideration, discussion, and action.
Okay. We need a motion and a second to approve, changing from the 10th to the 3rd. Motion by Ms. Malin, seconded by Mr. Trent. Discussion. Mr. Cucchini?
Part of us read something. Did we have a quorum for the 2nd also?
Yes, either one we have a quorum.
I personally preferred the 2nd. And I apologize for not bringing it up when you spoke before. The 3rd is the beginning of a holiday, and I have some plans. I know some people want to get the holiday started, so if it's inconsequential to everybody else, I would recommend the day before.
So we have we have a motion on the floor for the 3rd. We can withdraw that motion. Would you like to withdraw? Okay, we'll withdraw the motion.
But it's available both nights, right? I just want to make sure on that.
For the two new members in the audience, are you available the 2nd? Second, yes? Okay. Okay, and Mr. Parker is as well? Okay. Who would like to make a motion to change the 10th to the 2nd? Ms. Malin, seconded by Mr. Trent. Okay, is there any more discussion on the 2nd? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of moving the organizational meeting from the 10th to the 2nd, please raise your hands. Thank you, put them down. Seeing all hands raised, the reorganizational meeting is now on July 2nd, Tuesday night, July 2nd.
Tuesday, yes.
A non-traditional night of the board meeting, but notices will go out accordingly.
Absolutely.
Will it begin at 6:15?
Well, that will not have an exec session, so it will, I think it'll leave at 7:30, don't we?
7:30.
Or do we?
That would be better.
Christine, I'm sorry,
Seven.
the reorg, do we normally start it at 7:30 or 7?
At 7,
Usually
Yeah, 7.
Because there's no exec, I think we usually do 7.
Usually omnibus the whole meeting, it's usually done in 20 minutes. Then we start the next meeting, and then go into an exec,
Yeah.
Right.
then we work the agenda. It should be a quick night. the whole meeting.
So am I hearing, I don't think we need action for the time, but
I would
7?
request 7.
7.
I believe that's
I'm fine
okay.
It's up to you.
7 good?
I'm not going to be there.
7 good?
You can meet at
7 good?
7. Is 7 good?
Yeah.
Ms. Hayes, 7 good for you?
Everybody's good at 7.
Mr. Ruda?
Fabulous.
7 it is. Okay.
So noted. Next item?
Next item.
Okay, we have provided item for discussion number 4. We've provided this time for any board member to deliver a position statement regarding their interest in serving as board president or vice president for the coming school year. We are currently in receipt of statements from Ms. Hayes and Mr. Nix. Their statements are included in documents in this section. I don't know, did any other board members wish to make or submit a position statement at this time?
I did actually send something very late today to
Oh, I'm sorry, I do
Ms. Flynn, so I didn't know. I apologize, I missed the last meeting, and it wasn't really clear as to whether or how I was submitting this. I did send something late.
Okay.
So you'll get it in the next
Up,
board
no,
update?
I did already, yeah, I
If you
don't,
like, yeah.
Would you prefer they all be put in the board update? It's not actionable until the reorg meeting. So they'll go in the next board update. Okay? Okay. All right. Now we're on to item G, 1 through,
Now we are on
3.
to curriculum, correct?
Yes.
Administration recommends approval of curriculum items reflected in Schedules G1 through G2.
We need a motion and a second, G1 through G2, Ms. Malin, and seconded by Dr. Griffin. Discussion? No discussion? Ready to vote? All those in favor, G1 and 2, please raise your hands. Thank you, all hands raised. Motion passes unanimously, thank you. Item H.
Moving on to personnel, which will be a little tricky, so please bear with me. We have already approved item H4 earlier this evening. Administration recommends approval of personnel changes reflected in Schedules H1 through H3, items in H5, and items in H7 through H9. I've pulled out H6.
Okay, so we are going to need a motion for H1 through 3, 5, and 7 through 9.
Correct.
Motion, please. Motion by Mr. Trent, seconded by Dr. Nix. Dr. Nix. I just promoted you. I just promoted you. Seconded by Dr. Griffin. Did I say that right? Who was the motion?
I did a motion.
You didn't motion. So Dr. Griffin motion and Mr. Nix seconded. Thank you. It's the bifocals. When I look this way, I can't see all of you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Yes, Mr. Santo.
just a question, sorry I didn't ask this earlier, we were a little rushed. Just the clarification for H3.2, it says to be determined, and it's a new position, and what's the basis for that?
No, that is a replacement. That is,
It says new on the.
yes, it is new because it's for it. We need an additional person for South Haven.
Oh, for South Haven? 'cause
Yes.
it- yeah, to be determined.
We
that's
haven't
what I
made the
was
decision of where the person's going to land, but it's a new position that's tagged for South Haven.
gonna- Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Okay. Hang on, I just lost my place. Okay. All right, so again, we're doing H1 through 3, 5, 7 through 9. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Put them down. Seeing all hands raised, the motion passes unanimously.
And now administration recommends approval of personnel changes reflected in Schedule H6.1 through H6.6 and H6.8 through H6.85.
Could you repeat that again, please?
Yes, I can. 6.1 through 6.6 and 6.8 through 6.85. I have removed item 6.7. All items other than...
You removed item 6 and 7?
No, 6.7, I'm sorry.
6.7.
Yes.
So
all
we're-
items in H6 except for...
There's 26 items in this resolution.
No, there are...
Where am I?
There are 85 items in H6.
Thank you, Mr. Nix. Okay, I had the wrong item highlighted. That would explain it. Okay. One more time, from the top.
Administration recommends approval for items in H6.1 through H6.6 and H6.8 through H.685.
Okay, good. All right. So what he said, we need a motion and a second, please. Motion by Ms. Malin, seconded by Mr. Santo. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Put them down. Seeing all hands raised, motion approved unanimously. Okay, next.
And moving on to business, administration recommends approval of business items reflected in schedules I-1 through I-25.
I-1 through I-25, okay. And we need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Malin, seconded by Mr. Nix. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Thank you, put your hands down. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. That brings us up to public commentary. Are there any further cards? No cards? So that brings us to closing remarks. Why don't we start with Ms. DeSanto?
Well, if there's no objection, I respectfully request that the district clerk maybe poll our new board members so that we might have the possibility of doing a board retreat over this summer so that we can establish the board goals prior to the new school year starting.
You can do that in the update.
Okay.
All right?
Sure.
Okay. It will be done?
That will be it for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Malin?
Well, thank you to everyone here, both the two veteran members that were on when I came on 6 long years ago, and to those who've come on along the way. We've done a lot. And to the administration, all of you, thank you. I'm done. Thank you.
I have nothing to, thank you.
Mr. Trent? Nothing? Dr. Griffin?
Just a quick comment about, thank you all for staying. I'm going to entertain you. No. When I first got the idea of joining the board, I was told, wow, that's a thankless job. And being new to it, I was like, oh, I guess I'm just going to do a thankless job. I knew I wanted to do it for what I thought were the right reasons. But they were wrong. And I say this specifically to the returning board members and new board members. There are plenty of thanks. I got thanks from community members, thanks from administrators, thanks from teachers, thanks from parents, thanks even from a few students. So the thanks are there. It's not a thankless job. And I appreciate the thanks I got, and I want to send the thanks back to the entire South Country community, all of us, because the thanks I got, whether it was just, you know, a verbal thank you, a nod, a greet in IGA, it's been amazing. So I appreciate, and I'm genuinely going to miss my time here. I want to thank one of the board members who's not here, Ms. Hunt, who I really appreciated working with, and I'm sad she's not here, but I am grateful that we've got youth joining us with Mr. Trent, Trustee Trent, and I want to thank and let you know that you will get plenty of thanks, new trustees, Trustee Trent, Trustee Parker, Trustee Aruda, and Trustee Hayes. Thank you for what you're about to do. I appreciate it. And the returning trustees, for the years, the many, many years, Mr. Trustee Bacini, who I've come to know very well, and I respect, even though we come from different perspectives, I appreciate the fact that we work together so well. And I think something that you guys don't see, but we look at every day, am I willing to be open-minded and influenced? And I think our board did that. And I'm very proud of that we were able to discuss, even when emotions or could be in the way, and they didn't. And I appreciate that. Mr. Santo, same thing. Appreciate the fact that we got to work together. And I think it's a testament to the fact that we are driving in the same direction. We are focused on our community, and I expect that will continue. So, and then as a final thank you to the departing trustees, Ms. Mallon, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll see plenty of each other with our kids so close in age. And also to President Felice, who we met each other outside of Frank P. when we were interviewing. And I appreciate your friendship and the stuff I've learned. And I think if you're not learning, you're not growing. So thank you all. And I look forward to saying thank you to this board for many years to come. So thank you.
Yeah, that was nice. Mr. Nix.
I just really want to thank the outgoing trustees, to Carol Mallon, my favorite person to motion and second with. I think we hold the record of motioning and second, but it's truly been such a joy working with you over these last 2 years. I've really learned quite a bit from you, and it's been such a pleasure, so thank you. And to Dr. Griffin, I will certainly be missing your insight on, especially given tonight, perfect example with the capstone, AP capstone presentation. You asked the questions that no one else is thinking, and that is certainly going to be missed, I believe, in the next board, and we will strive to be doing that, to channel you, given in the next year, and I will certainly miss your eloquence.
Thank you.
I thank you for that. And to President Felice, it's truly been an honor and a joy since I met you, I want to say 3 years ago, at a committee meeting, and you have truly become a great mentor and leader in my life, and I'm proud to and happy to call you a friend. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nix.
And I have to just do some thank yous for the community. Thank you to those who contributed to Donors Choose in support of learning activities in Ms. Grello's class at Frank P. Long. Thank you to Stop and Shop for their $150 donation to Frank P. Long, and $211.55 donation to Vern W. Kritz through their A+ Rewards program. And thank you to the Suffolk Association of School Business Officials for their donation of a $500 scholarship. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And I'll be brief. I share the same feelings that all of you have shared, and I really have come to respect all of you. When I came onto the board, when the three of us, when Carol returned to the board and Dr. Griffin and myself came to the board 3 years ago, it was a very tumultuous time. And I'm proud that our new board members came into our executive session to see that we had healthy dialogue without discord. And that's the way a board should run. And they were very challenging times that first year. It was equally challenging the second year. And certainly the challenges continue, but we exceed those challenges because I think there's great teamwork and there's great respect for the faculty, staff, and students and parents of this great district. And I don't want to speak about this district gets sold short because we know it doesn't. We know it's not. And I want to give a special thanks to each and every one of you, and I've enjoyed your friendship. And these are friendships that will last. This is not just because of the board. But I want to thank the superintendent. The superintendent got compared a lot to neighboring district superintendents. And we tried to mold him into something that he wasn't. And because he believed it was about the students first, as we all did. But he truly held on to that belief in a way that was very firm. He didn't think he had to make the big speeches. He didn't think he had to be the one on social network. He wanted to showcase his students, and showcase them he did. And I was very proud to watch that evolution as to how much that meant to you and how well you guided this district. That doesn't mean to say that we still don't have ways in which we want to proceed and grow, but the dialogue is always there. And I would encourage any board member and or parent to reach out to the superintendent and let him know what it is that you think. He's firm but fair in trying to push this district beyond where it was before. And I think with good teamwork, and we have a good team that's coming up, we have a good bench that's coming up to replace those of us who are moving on, and you have a great superintendent to work with. And I wish you the best of luck in continuing our initiatives that we have started, and I look forward to good things. We still have a number of moving up ceremonies to participate in. We have graduation coming up, and those new trustees will be invited to graduation as well to just participate in the festivities. But I just want to thank you again for 3 wonderful years. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that brings us to, if there are no further, is that a comment or a motion?
One more comment, if I could, Ms. Lees. I remembered that I got a most important invitation in the mail today, and that is for the South Country Education Foundation Summer Cocktail Party and Auction, which is July 13th. And I know summer goes very quickly and people's schedules fill up quickly, so please do mark your calendar for that, because the South Country Education Foundation funds phenomenal things in our district now. It's their 21st year doing so. Okay. So please mark your calendars for Saturday, July 13th at 5 o'clock.
Thank you for that reminder. I started attending that event as soon as I moved into the district and before I was on the board. And it is a wonderful event, and it was wonderful to see how that money is used for those areas that taxpayer dollar can't support. But if anybody has not been to that event, and it's only $85, you really should. It's a wonderful, wonderful time. And when is it again? July 13th?
July 13th.
Okay. Thank you. Perhaps you can put that in the update.
At the Berman's house, as usual.
Okay. Dr. Gianni will put that in the update as well. All right then. Okay, who's going to fight to make that last adjournment motion? Ms. Malin, and how about Dr. Griffin? There we go. There we go. All right. All those in favor of adjourning? Thank you very much. All hands raised, and we are duly